Today, I'm going to talk about the coolest way to take over the world. No guns involved, just water. China's giant dam. Right now, the funding has already been approved because on December 25th, 2025, China authorized $137 billion to go into the Yashi project, which is a massive, colossal dam construction project. This has shocked people all over the world. There's a lot of worry, fear, and all sorts of concerns. But the question is, why the concern over China's mega dam? Regardless of its scale, it's being built within their own borders, on their own river. They're not building it on anyone else's land, and it's not in our backyard. Why is everyone so shocked? Does it have anything to do with me? The answer is yes, it does. Because even though China built that massive dam within its own territory on a river that runs through China, the thing is, that part of the river is actually the source of major rivers that flow throughout South Asia and Southeast Asia. And I'm talking about the impact on the populations living downstream, over 2 billion people. And one of those downstream rivers is the Mekong. So Thailand, our homeland, is affected too. So the area where China decided to build that dam isn't just any ordinary place. The Tibetan glaciers are actually one of the most powerful and potentially catastrophic regions in the world. But the question is, how did China manage to build there? Where did China get so skilled? How do they have the technology to construct such massive dams? And in this video, I'm also going to explain why China is so obsessed with controlling water flows to such an extreme degree. Because the Chinese government understands that whoever controls the headwaters gets to write the rules for those downstream. You can support information about China's mega dams by simply scanning the QR code on your screen, or you can easily support the Psy Money Monster segment by clicking as well. Feel free to drop a comment to chat, hit like, share, or save this to watch later. And what I'd really love is if you could subscribe so we can reconnect with each other when the next video drops. Thank you very much. China is the country with the most dams in the world by a significant margin. More than half of the world's dams are located in China. So you might wonder, why has China built so many dams? And how did they manage to build so many? Let's take a look at this picture. Can you see this right here? This huge concrete pipe stretches for thousands upon thousands of kilometers. It's used to transport water. China has been building projects like these pipelines since 2002, they haven't just built pipelines. They've also built canals, moved mountains, and even relocated millions of people. All of this was done to distribute water from southern China up to the north. This is what China's mega project, the South-North Water Transfer Project, looks like. It's given the Chinese government almost godlike abilities because they can control the water, control its path, open up routes for water to flow wherever they want, or block it from flowing wherever they don't want. This project started back in 2002. There were some delays. At first, they thought it would be finished around 2013, but it actually took shape and was completed in 2017. So why does China go to such lengths to control water, especially since the country is so huge? The answer is that China wants to distribute water, to spread prosperity evenly throughout the whole country. If you look at this map, you'll see that in the past, China's prosperity was concentrated in the south, right? Below the Yellow River and the Yangtze River, everything was clustered there for thousands of years. Fertility, agriculture, all of that. Whether it's Beijing, the highly civilized capital, or Shenzhen, the heart of China's tech industry, their growth all came from the abundance of water. And this area is the reason why 94% of the Chinese population is concentrated here, because all the wealth and prosperity are here, in stark contrast to the north. Actually, the northern region is much larger, but it's dry and mostly desert. But after the South-North Water Transfer Project successfully distributed water, the government saw tangible results. In 2019, the poverty rate in China, which used to be extremely high, dropped to just 0.1%. In 2018, the number of people in the middle class rose to 707 million, up from 39 million in the year 2000. See, that was the year after the water transfer project was completed, after 2017. Because just like the Chinese believe, the ability to control water is like having the power of the gods. This idea has existed since ancient times. There's a legend that tells of a great flood in China caused by the Yellow River, and there was a hero called Dai Yu was the one who was able to stop the flooding by controlling the water. And on the day he managed to control the flood, heaven chose him to be the ruler of the land. This legend is the origin story of the Jia dynasty in China. Because of this, rulers in China, no matter the era, have always taken water control extremely seriously. This continued all the way to 1952, when Mao Zedong, he proposed the idea of diverting water from the south, from the Yellow River and the Yangtze River, where there is an abundance of water, to distribute it up north. This eventually led to the mega project known as the South-North Water Transfer Project. As I mentioned before, China's obsession with building dams is reflected in some staggering numbers. By the end of 2024, China will have a total of 94,000 dams in the country. My goodness, what kind of country has almost 100,000 dams? This means that by 2025, China has an installed hydropower capacity of up to 436 million kilowatts, making it the country that generates the most electricity from hydropower in the world. China has already built the largest dam in the world, called the Three Gorges Dam. The Three Gorges Dam has an installed capacity as high as 22.5 gigawatts, or 22,500,000 kilowatts. This amount of electricity is enough to provide electricity to as many as 70 million households per year. So now we can see just how great it is to be able to control a river like this. But are there any downsides? Of course there are, because humans are just humans. We're not gods. So when humans try to control nature to this extent, there are bound to be impacts on the environment. What China has done is control the river, and as a result, many rivers have dried up. And these numbers show that in China, 800 rivers completely disappeared. 600 of them vanished because of this mega project. As for the impact on people living downstream, what does that look like? Well, even before the construction of what's supposed to be the world's largest dam, there were already issues with the dams China had previously built. There's actually a historical example. In 2019, there was a drought in the Mekong River basin. A lot of people probably remember that year, the water level in the Mekong River was the lowest it had been in 100 years. If you look at the years, the drought in the Mekong Basin happened in 2019, while the mega water transport project and the construction of numerous dams in China were completed in 2017. So what caused the worst drought in the Mekong Basin at that time? There's a report from the Mekong Hydrology Plot and Draft Report 2000. The drought in the lower Mekong occurred primarily because the total amount of rainfall decreased, which was largely due to significant alterations to the river's natural flow. So if you ask what caused it, it might initially appear to be a natural disaster, but the report states that it was actually far more severe than a typical natural disaster because numerous large-scale dams were constructed to store water, effectively preventing it from flowing naturally. And there's an even more direct headline. This one is from Manager Online, which reported that the U.S. Embassy said the 2019 drought in the lower Mekong was caused by Chinese dams holding back water. Besides the impact on the Mekong Basin, China's dams, which are said to be massive, like the so-called Three Gorges Dam, can you believe it? It is widely reported to affect people all over the world, even those who don't live downstream or anywhere in Asia. That's because, according to a detailed NASA report, the Three Gorges Dam has a significant and measurable impact on the Earth's rotation, effectively making our days slightly longer by 0.06 microseconds. At this point, we can really see how those living upstream have the power to determine the fate of people downstream, right? Whoever controls the headwaters, if they open the tap, people downstream have water to use. If they close the tap, it's dry downstream. If they open the tap too much, there's flooding downstream. Or if they shut it off completely, there's drought. According to this theory, it means that people living downstream are basically at the mercy of whoever controls the headwaters. And just looking at the number and size of dams that China has already built and completed, right now, you could say it's super powerful, really, really powerful. And with China just approving an additional 137 billion yuan for a project called Yase, it's even more massive and impressive than before. This project, in Chinese, I think it's pronounced Yasha, though I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Or in English, it's called the Lower Yalu Hydropower Project. What's really important is that the Yase project is being built at a strategic location. This is what you'd call a pure, untouched plan. And it's a truly strategic spot, one that could determine the lives and deaths of over 2 billion people in South Asia and Southeast Asia. That's because this dam is set to be built on what's known as the roof of the world, the glaciers of Tibet, which is the highest region on Earth, with an average elevation of over 4,500 meters. It stands tall, and high above the vast continent of Asia, there's a massive region covering an area roughly the size of 5 Thailands. This entire highland region is filled with ancient glaciers, and when those glaciers eventually melt, the water comes together to form the primary headwaters of Asia's most major rivers. These main rivers include the Indus, the Ganges, the Mekong, and the Yarlung Tsangpo. Altogether, these mighty rivers are known as the main arteries of Asia. If you still can't picture just how important this area is, let me put it this way. Imagine we're aliens who want to take over the world. We look at this little planet and ask ourselves, hey, if we're going to conquer this round world, where should we start? The answer would be go for the roof of the world, the very place where China wants to build dams. Because if you can control just that area, this area, which is about the size of 5 Thailands put together, you could control the water sources and food supplies for nearly half the world's population. You get it? Because it's so important. This area is so crucial that nature itself designed it so that no one should ever dare to mess with it. It's an absolutely vital and indispensable spot that allows our world to have life, that lets us humans exist and survive. So it's almost like nature intentionally made this area completely teeming with immense, powerful forces of natural disaster. But what China wants to do is build a dam right here. Now, if you ask whether China has really thought this through, I'm confident they have. They must trust in their technology, plus they have experience. They've already built 94,000 dams across China. So building the biggest dam right here, in the most dangerous area in the world, is something they could actually pull off. Now, if you ask about the area where China plans to build this dam, how incredibly dangerous is this specific area, really? This exact spot is actually where 6 different major tectonic plates all meet together. That means this entire region frequently experiences some of the most severe and destructive earthquakes in the world. Back in 1950, there is a documented historical record of a massive 8.6 magnitude earthquake here, which stands as the strongest earthquake ever recorded in all of human history. It happened right here, and when it happened, it created a massive wave, 7 meters high, and took the lives of 500 people, even though this area isn't very populated. Just like that, 500 people were gone. And what's even worse is that it wasn't just a one-time thing. Throughout the 20th century, there have been several severe earthquakes of this magnitude in this very area. Many times. That means China already has this information. So they must know that building a dam here is extremely dangerous because of the risk of earthquakes of this magnitude. No matter how advanced China's technology is, can they really stop an earthquake? No, they can't. And the question China has to answer to themselves, to others, to the world, to everyone, isn't just, hey, if you build a dam here and while you're building it or after it's finished, an earthquake of this size happens, what will you do? That's not the question. The real question isn't about if, but rather, how are you preparing for such a massive earthquake with a dam in such a risky area? And it's not just about earthquakes. Since the land is so deeply sloped like this, there's also the issue of landslides. Landslides in this area seem to be pretty common, actually, because over the past 20 years, they've just kept happening again and again. And then add global warming into the mix. In March 2021, a glacier melted and fell from a height of up to 4 kilometers, landing right in the Great Bend area, or exactly where they plan to build the dam. So the question is, when something like this happens, what will be the impact from the dam? Does anyone know yet? No one really knows what the effects of the world's largest mega dam would be. But it's not like there aren't any dams here. There are, but they're not big ones. In fact, just this past November, there was a dam here. The water flooded up from the lake, which caused the glacier to break apart, and then the dam broke as well. As soon as the dam burst, the water rushed down and flooded the area, resulting in the deaths of 100 people. And let me emphasize again, that's 100 people in an area that's not very populated, and the dam wasn't even big. That means if the dam were larger, the damage could be much more severe, proportional to its size. And another reason why natural disasters here are so intense is because the water here flows through a river that's extremely steep, like really, really steep. To give you an idea, the river's elevation can start at 3,000 meters, and then in less than 100 meters of distance, it can drop down to just 600 meters. All of this means that this area is a natural landscape that's incredibly hard to access. It's very deep and extremely remote. It's really hard to reach, very hard to experience, and incredibly special too. Speaking of the dangers here, I can't not mention how unique this place is. Because it's so pure, so incredibly pristine, nature has designed it in such a way that scientists are still discovering new species here all the time. And it's not just fish or single-celled organisms either. We're talking about large animals, new mammals. Scientists are still finding them here. I can't help but think of Pocahontas. All of this presents a challenge for China. How can they make sure it doesn't harm the environment? How can they ensure that these new species can continue to survive here? How can they avoid a natural disaster in a place as magnificent as this? But no matter what the conditions are, the potential for energy generation here is just too great for China to turn down. So China is moving forward. Besides the environmental impacts I just mentioned, we can't overlook the effects on neighboring countries. Because when China builds a massive dam, its neighbors aren't exactly thrilled. India, for example, is not okay with it. India has already notified China of its concerns about the dam through diplomatic channels. India has taken all the necessary steps and procedures to protect its own rights. One of the reasons is that China's dam construction has caused the impact on neighboring countries is similar to when China built the Three Gorges Dam. China never shared when they would start building, how the process would go, or how the water would be managed. So communities in the surrounding areas had no idea how the water would flow or when construction would be finished. They couldn't prepare themselves. This is one of the things that India requested was, can you at least tell me what you're going to build, how and when? This is one of the things India asked for. India also requested cooperation, saying they didn't want anything to affect India's rights at all. In response, China issued a statement saying that this mega dam, this giant dam, wouldn't be a problem for India, nor would it be a problem for any other state. China said, this is a run-of-the-river project, not really a dam. More like the water and such won't affect the flow of the river at all. Listen to this. Hawaii Tui, the core of the issue is this. While Thailand is actually blocking it, they say it's for the right reasons, for environmental change, for the benefit of the South, or something like that. China has come out and said it won't have any impact. So if there's any confusion or whatever, well, that's China's right. China can say whatever it wants. But whether India and others believe it or not, that's their right too. Because of these concerns, India went ahead and built a dam to counter China. India is really worried that if China has such a massive dam upstream in the future, then China might use water as a weapon to create artificial floods or droughts, using it to pressure, negotiate, and set rules for India. But let's talk about the positive side for a moment. China building this massive 60 gigawatt dam here, despite all the concerns and worries, actually does have some benefits. Though those benefits are mostly for China. That might not be entirely true, but it's not exactly wrong either. Because if this dam is completed, it will become the largest single source of clean energy in the world, unmatched by anyone else. The Chinese government has stated that this project will generate about 300 billion kilowatt hours of electricity per year. And because it's so massive, it won't just be a power generator, it will also be a key pillar of China's national economic strategy. So let's talk about the economic side first. This dam has a direct impact on China's GDP. No matter if the real estate sector is in crisis, if consumers aren't buying, or if factories have fewer production orders, or even with trade wars and all that, government investment remains high. That's why, at least initially, stocks related to this project, whether it's Power Construction Corporation of China, China Engineering Corp, these stocks surged as soon as the project was announced, which was in July 2025. Even though the spike was mostly around the time the news broke, there's another one too, like Huaxin Cement, which also shot up and might keep climbing steadily. This massive dam in China also helps boost renewable energy production and supports the transition to green energy, with the goal of reaching net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2000. Coming out of China, honestly, if you look at all the different things China has brought out as weapons, whether it's their rare earth army, lithium, or silver, I would honestly say that the scariest one of all is almost certainly going to be this: water.